Hey, what's going on, guys? It's John with Midrange TCG. I tried to record this video earlier, but I think what's going to happen is I'm going to split it into two parts. The first part I'm going to cover white, blue, and black, and then the second part I'm going to cover red, green, and all the other doubles, I believe. Just really quickly, let's go through the order. So for white, cards that we have, Blade Instructor, very generic card. I don't think there's anything special about it. It has Mentor, obviously, but 3 mana 3/1 is very shit. Sorry, excuse the language. 3/1 is not great. Next, we have Bounty Agent, so 1 and a white, Vigilance, sacrifice it. So tap sack, destroy target legendary permanent that's an artifact, creature, or enchantment. Pretty good. I guess it's white's answer to Search for Skanta. It's also white's answer to, well, it has to be a legendary, so I guess like Oath of Teferi for an artifact, like Mox, or like the Immortal Sun for creatures. Pretty much anything that's legendary. Not bad. I think she's pretty good. I think Bounty Agent's probably going to be more so a card for sideboard. I don't think it's really going to be the main deck card. But it's also really good against Teferi. I'm sorry, no it's not. It has to be a legendary permanent that's an artifact, enchantment, or creature, so I guess not. Conclave Tribunal. So really good in like a swarm deck, so if you want to play like Saplings and you want to play green, what you can do is you can like tap your Saplings. So you go like turn 2, tap a make 2 Saplings, turn 3. I play Conclave Tribunal for 2 mana. Pretty good, right? Or you play a creature and then you tap that creature. So, yeah, it's not bad. Healer's Hawk, Flying Lifelink, not bad. 1/1, 1 mana, 1/1, very generic. I think this is like the equivalent of like a Mesa Unicorn, which pretty much is like what 2 mana, 2/2 lifelink. But this one has evasion. If you play it with Mentor, it's pretty good. So you can go like turn 1, Healer Hawk, turn 2, Sunhome Stalwart, and turn 3, Blade Instructor. And the Sunhome Stalwart also Mentor, but it's also a 2/2 first striker. 2 mana, 2/2 first strike. Not a bad card. Next, we're going to go to blue. So blue, we have Dimir Informant, so 2 and a blue. When it enters the battlefield, surveil 2. So for a 1/4, I think it's okay. Not a very strong card. I think it's just very average. It's sort of like an Omni Speaker, except with Omni Speaker, it was a 0/3, Scry 3. So getting to pitch cards in the graveyard could be good, but I don't think the mechanics right now sort of work for it. Dream Eater, 4 mana blue, so 4 blue. Flying Flash, when it enters the battlefield, surveil 4. When you do, return target non-land permanent you control to it. Sorry. When you do, you may return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to their owner's hands. So, I think this card is very right? It's a mythic, but it's a 6 mana 4/3. Flash Flying is kind of cool because it has disruption. Could be a potential sideboard card for control, but I don't think it's that great. And the reason I'm saying that is because it doesn't have the text can't be countered. It also doesn't have the text hexproof. All it has is flying. And if you look at it, 3 toughness on a 6 mana creature is not very strong. And then the surveil mechanic isn't that great either. Pitching cards in the graveyard, I see it like you might have like a combination between like Dream Eater and like Narcomoeba. So if you find like a Narcomoeba, sure, you can make another flyer. But it's not great on its own. I think it's missing something. It's missing something definitely, and I think you need something to supplement it with. Murmuring Mystic, 4 mana, 1/5. I think this card's insane. It's got better stats than Psy. I think the only difference is that Psy lets you sack your Thopters, draw a card. So it's 2 mana, sack 2 Thopters, or sack 2 artifacts, draw a card. As opposed to Murmuring Mystic, which is pretty much when you make an instant stress, you make a blue bird illusion token creature with flying. But, those birds will smack you in the face. And they're also 1 with the wind. They're also can be played with 1 with the wind, so they'll be 2/2 flying birds instead of 1/1s. And for a 2 mana enchantment, I think that's very strong. And you can play multiples because it's not a legendary either. Next, we got Narcomoeba, not very good. Probably better in modern. Just the fact that you can just bin it from the top of your graveyard from your library to the graveyard and then put it on the battlefield. Quasi Duplicate. So 1 blue. I think this card's pretty cool. Sorcery, make a token that's a copy of a target creature you control. You can play this with Murmuring Mystic. So what you'll do is, the way that the stack will work is, you'll play Quasi Duplicate, target Murmuring Mystic. You'll make a blue flying bird, and the Quasi Duplicate will resolve. So Murmuring Mystic will, so you'll get a second copy. And then after that, you can bin it from the graveyard to cast it again. Sorry, bin a card to the graveyard. It's like a land or something on like the next turn. To cast another copy, make another Murmuring Mystic, and then have 2 more flyers. So essentially, you just get to swarm your board with 1/5s for a 3 mana card. Pretty strong, pretty cool, pretty awesome, pretty strong. Radical Idea, 1 in a blue, draw a card, jumpstart. I think Opt is better because it lets you scry 1 first. I don't think this card is actually good enough, and it sort of takes away your 2 mana slot, which is very important for playing cards like Search for Skanta, Charter Course, um, all these other cards that could be potentially beneficial. Sinister Sabotage. 1 blue, counter target spell, surveil 1. I think this card actually has a pretty good implication in Standard just because it's a counter spell that also lets you pitch a card with Search for Skanta. You definitely want to see this in a control deck. We also have cards like Syncopate, obviously, but once Torrential Gearhulk rotates, I think Syncopate gets inherently better. People will start playing it more, and obviously with Disallow being removed from rotating out of the format, Sinister Sabotage is kind of there to just like take its place. It's the 3 mana counter spell that blue asks for, and the fact that you can surveil, you can look at the top card, and potentially you get to scry or you get to bin it, which is cool because you might have a spell that resolves in the graveyard, or a card that has like Jumpstart that resolves in the graveyard. So an example, you could see like Quasi Duplicate. Oh, I'm gonna bin Quasi Duplicate, and then I'm gonna I'll resolve Sinister Sabotage, and then I'll just discard a card, pay 3 mana to play Quasi Duplicate. So you essentially get to play the card the same turn from your graveyard instead of waiting the following turn to draw it, then cast it, and then jumpstart it after that. Unexplained Disappearance, 1 in a blue, return target creature to its owner's hand. Very generic, unsummon with a surveil on top of it. I think it's okay. I don't really think it'll see play. Rawl's Dispersal. So 3 blue, return target creature to its owner's hand. You may search your library or graveyard for a card named Rawl, Call of Storm, reveal it, put it to your hand. If you do, shuffle your library. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. I believe this is from the Construct deck. I don't think this card is actually found available in like the packs. But I think this card's it's great, whatever. Return target creature to its owner's hand. So it's a bounce card, and then it's a tutor card for Raw Color Storms. Not very cool. Not a very cool card. Not a very good card. I don't think it'll see play. But it'll probably be available in the starter deck. In black, we have Deadly Visit. So 3 black, destroy target creature, surveil 2. Obviously, it's a very generic removal spell from every single set that we ever get. Mostly for draft, less so for standard. The Surveil 2 is kind of nice, especially when you're playing in draft formats where you're specifically looking for key cards that you want to keep and key cards that you want to bin. Macabre Mastery, 3 black, choose a target creature card with converted mana cost 1 in your graveyard. Do the same with converted mana cost 2, and then 3, and return those cards to the battlefield. So I think this card's really cool in zombies, because what you can do is you can go like Diagraph Ghoul, so you can go like target Diagraph Ghoul, target, what's that 2 mana? Graveyard Marshal, and they can target Death Baron. And, you're just like, okay, well, you just wiped my board for 5 mana. I'm going to bring it back now. So it's pretty cool. Definitely awesome. You can also play like Stitcher Supplier and just feed your graveyard even more. So there's also that. And Stitcher Supplier will essentially net you 12 cards in the graveyard instead of just 6. Moonmark Painter, 2 black, 2/3 Undergrowth. When it enters the battlefield, target creature gets menace and +X+0 to the end of turn, or exit the number of creature cards in your graveyard. I think it's very good in draft. I don't know if it'll be good in standard. I mean, obviously you want to play this with something like a Demon Lord Bells Unlock, because you can sort of tutor this card out. You'll take it down, sure, but you get to tutor this card out, and then next turn you get to give Bells Unlock, Menace, and +X+0, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Pretty good. Necrotic Wound, 1 black for an instant. Undergrowth, target creature gets -X till the end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. If the creature would die this turn, exile it instead. So this is sort of like a Magma Spray in black, but it also has the -X Undergrowth ability, which means you sort of get to combo it off with like Macabre Mastery, where you can go like, okay, well, I'm just going to -3 your creature and then exile it. And then on top of that, I'll play Macabre Mastery, or excuse me, Hatchery, and I'll return those 3 cards, the 3 creature cards back to my field. Pretty cool, honestly. I think this is sort of like the M19 card that also, where it's like you gain life and then you can destroy target creature, or you deal -X, where like X is the amount of life you gain this turn. I think it's one of those cards. I don't think it's going to be like insane, but it's easier to get out than lifelink, because putting cards in the graveyard and putting creatures in the graveyard is an inherent mechanic, and it sort of punishes your opponent for playing stuff like board wipes and then like dropping a big creature like a Lyra Dawnbringer or something like that. So I think it has its implications, and it's a pretty good card. We're going to go into colorless now. Nothing cool. Red. Okay, so we have Barging Sergeant. So 4 in a red for a haste mentor 4/2. I think it's very whatever. Not a really good card. I don't think there's much to say about it. Direct Current, 1 red. Direct Current deals 2 damage to any target. Jumpstart. I think this is going to be like the new Ramunap Ruins. It'll sort of be like Red's way of sort of extending and getting that extra 4 damage that it takes to close out a game. Definitely a very powerful card. Also really good in Is It, because you also have the ability to play cards from exile. Or excuse me, you have the ability to play these cards and then resolve an additional effect on top of that. Legion's War Boss, so 2 in a red, so for a 2/2 mentor. At the beginning of combat, make a 1/1 red creature goblin token. or sorry, Goblin creature token. It gets haste till the end of turn and attacks its combat if able. I think Legion's War Boss is pretty awesome. Just the fact that he makes tokens, you don't even have to attack with him. So you can just be like, okay, well, at the beginning of combat, I'm just gonna make a goblin, and then I'll sack it to Siege King Commander and just deal 2 to you. So you essentially get to shock your opponent every turn, which is pretty awesome. Next, we're gonna go into green. So I guess we'll just cover like all the the white, blue, black, red, greens. So for green, we have Arboretum. What is this? Arboretum. I can't read the Arboretum Elemental. So 7 green for a 7/5 Convoke. And I guess Convoke for green is not bad because you can play with green-white. You essentially want to play the Selesnya colors, which they pretty much just like swarm the field. But for 7/5 hexproof, not bad. Honestly, not bad. But doesn't have trample, it's just not that great. You can play it in like a Selesnya deck where you go like, turn 2, I'll play Sapling Migration, and then turn 3, I'll play I don't know, what's a card that makes more creatures? Another Sapling Migration. And then turn 4, it's like, okay, well, I'll play a land, and then I'll just tap my 4 creatures and tap my 3 lands. No, tap my 4 lands, and then I'll just play an Arboretum Elemental because it's 9 mana, but not that great. I'd rather be looking at Impervious Great Worm, which we'll get to in a second. But Wario Copy, so 2 and a green for a 3/2 Vigilance, not that awesome. It's just a very meh card. Obviously, it's vanilla. There's not much to talk about it. But Impervious Great Worm, so 7 green. This is the promo card, I believe, for Guilds of Ravnica. And it says Convoke 16/16 Indestructible. And I guess the really cool mechanic about Convoke is you can essentially play it in any deck. You don't have to play it in a deck that plays the triple green. Convoke sort of lets you splash into any deck without actually having to pay for the mana, as long as you have the creatures. So think of it as like pseudo Phyrexian mana, except instead of paying life and having an easily accessible resource, you now have creatures. So you could play this in a Gruul deck, or you could play it in a mono red deck that just plays goblins and just have a bunch of goblins, tap them, make an Impervious Great Worm. Right, you can tap them to pay for the mana cost, and then sacrifice them with Skirk Prospector to sort of bring it out extra early. So you essentially sack 5 goblins to play a 16/16 Indestructible. And then what you can do is you can play that new card that sort of sacrifices a creature and deals its damage to a target. So you can just deal 16/16 to any opponent. Right, also playing Banefire. So red has a lot of ways to easily close out a game by turn 6, turn 7. So that's all that I'm going to cover for now with regards to Guilds of Ravnica. I am going to go over all of the rest of the spoilers, but I think for now I'm just going to cover white, blue, black, red, green. So thank you for watching. Do let me know what do you guys think about these regular vanilla cards or the monocolor cards. Are there any implications in standard? What do you think? Where can they be placed? And do let me know. But until then, signing out.